Are you considering moving your business offshore but have not decided on a jurisdiction yet? Well, in this video, we're gonna discuss two of our most sought after jurisdictions among our clients, Hong Kong versus the BVI. Hi, my name is Rusudan. I have been working with Nomad Capitalist for the last 4 years, helping high net worth individuals legally reduce their taxes, get second citizenships, and go where they are treated best. When we're talking about moving your business offshore, there are a few jurisdictions that always come to your mind, and Hong Kong and the British Virgin Islands, or BVI as we call it, always pops up and always is at the top of the list. So in this video, we are gonna discuss and compare Hong Kong versus British Virgin Islands, and hopefully it will, at the end of the video, help you make a decision between these two jurisdictions. So let's first start with Hong Kong and talk about some attractions and the benefits that you will be getting if you establish a company in Hong Kong. So the first thing that pops up in your mind when you're talking about Hong Kong, it's in offshore industry, it's a very well-known financial hub. It's a jurisdiction that has aimed for the last few decades to make itself attractive for international businesses and entrepreneurs. So the systems are set there. So you will be getting into a jurisdiction where they know how to treat international businesses. So everything is set in regards to like establishing a company. Everything is really easy for you to do that because they have been doing that for so long. So you are getting some level of credibility, of course. Even for Hong Kong, it is a very well-known jurisdiction. It helps if you say that you are established in Hong Kong, it gives you a certain credibility. The other benefit of Hong Kong is, of course, tax. We have a longer video that you can listen to separately, but I will give you a quick recap here. So yes, there is a corporate tax in Hong Kong at 16.5%, but offshore, you can enjoy the offshore profit tax claim, which gives you the ability to pay 0% tax for the offshore business that you conduct. And you, of course, have to provide proof that you are not actually working in Hong Kong and managing your business from Hong Kong, but outside of Hong Kong. So if you comply with all those requirements, you basically pay 0% tax. You do have to conduct audit annually and provide the audited financial statements. Thus, you have to keep the accounting records and also engage an auditor every year to provide the audited financial statement to the Inland Revenue Service. It's a plus. You don't have to pay any tax, but it does give you a bit of an extra work in that. And it is something that you should consider if this is the investment that you want to make in regards to the money that you have to pay to the auditors and also to the time and resources that you have to spend on that. The other benefit of Hong Kong, I believe, is banking opportunities. I think that in some cases compared to the BVI, Hong Kong provides more opportunities for banking. It is a very well-known financial hub and there are a lot of banks represented in Hong Kong, so definitely good options for you to consider. And now let's go back to the BVI. So BVI may not be as well known, but it does have certain benefits that are like compared to Hong Kong, maybe are unique to the BVI. The first thing is that it's close to the UK, so it gives you access to maybe the UK markets that Hong Kong wouldn't have the ability to give you like a specific access to. While Hong Kong is a good getaway for Asia and Asian markets and specifically China, I think depending on what's your priority, maybe BVI with its like unique access to the UK can provide you with the solution that you need. So for BVI, I think that compared to Hong Kong, compliance and reporting is really like very little. There's no audit requirement. There is some reporting that you have to do annually, but it's like not very comprehensive. You can get it done with like just as part of your renewal with your local corporate service provider. So it's really easy. Between these two, I think that BVI is definitely easier to maintain and it requires a bit less of your time and resources. BVI has a bit less banking opportunities than Hong Kong. I mean, you can get a BVI account for your BVI company, but there are not as many options as you would get for Hong Kong. So I would consider that like if you have a very active business, if you have a lot of transactions like daily or monthly and everything, maybe BVI is not the best option for you. Now let's compare costs. In general, I think that it costs more to establish a company in the BVI, like the one-time cost for incorporating the company is higher in BVI, but long-term maintenance is higher in Hong Kong because you have to conduct the audit. Like you have to do all the renewals plus pay the audit fee. So in total, I would say that in the long term, BVI is cheaper to maintain compared to Hong Kong. But when you're making a decision between BVI and Hong Kong, here are the questions that I would ask myself. Like the first one is, what type of business do I have? And can it be conducted from outside of Hong Kong? Can you establish the company in Hong Kong, prove that you're not working from Hong Kong, you don't have substantial connection to Hong Kong, so you are able to pay zero tax. And with that, you can have all the infrastructure that you need. And if that is the case, for more active transactional businesses, I would say, and the businesses that plan to grow over the years, I would say that Hong Kong is a better choice. And in general, of course, it depends on the specific situation, but general approach would be the train of thought would be like that for me. And for BVI, I think that BVI is very good for, let's say, if you have a holding company, or if you have a investment business, or maybe IP, intellectual properties that you want to hold through this company. In that case, BVI is a better choice, could be a better choice. And if you have less transactions, BVI would be a good fit for you, a better fit for you than Hong Kong, because with BVI, daily transactions with banking and everything could be a bit of an issue, or could take you a bit more resources for you to solve that compared to Hong Kong. One other thing, biggest difference I would say between BVI and Hong Kong, and I think that we, even our clients, they often ask and they often prioritize this when they are making a decision between different jurisdictions, be that on business side or the personal side, is privacy and confidentiality. We know that BVI offers a definitely higher level of that. If you incorporate in BVI, the names of the shareholders, the names of the directors, it's not public knowledge, it's not something that is shared publicly. But with Hong Kong, you do have to disclose all that information. So if confidentiality and privacy is a priority for you, then definitely BVI is a better choice. And we do know that some people pay attention to that, and some people even it can be a deal breaker. We've had a client who was if it's the same for everything, I'd much rather even pay more just to get this privacy and confidentiality, and that is in some cases a very good pointer to what could be a good choice for you. For BVI companies, tax-wise, of course, BVI is a tax haven, so there is no corporate tax, there is no tax on inheritance or capital gains tax. So tax-wise, I think that this is the reason also for so little reporting and compliance that you have to do with BVI compared to Hong Kong, because in general, there is no tax to pay. It is a very good, for businesses that don't want to do a lot of paperwork, they don't want to be dealing with a lot of authorities and different vendors. I think that BVI is a better choice, because you can actually spend your time building your business compared to just going through some forms and paperwork. In some cases, that can be a really good indicator of where to go and what is your priority in the given situation. With BVI, you don't have to do a huge reporting, but there is still some reporting. And one thing that BVI and Hong Kong on the surface have in common is that you also, for BVI, it is also important to not have substantial connection to BVI, because if you have substantial connection, then you have to get the license for the specific case, for the specific activity that you're conducting through BVI. And I think that even though maybe tax-wise it doesn't add much to it, I think that from compliance and reporting-wise it can get a bit more complex. But for most of the businesses that we've seen or we had to deal with for our clients, I think that BVI generally, when established structurally, can give you no tax, very little compliance or reporting requirements, but it does have a bit more restriction on the banking. You do have banks in the BVI, but BVI is very small, so it's you don't have a lot of option. So if you don't want to pay any tax, you cannot have substantial connection to Hong Kong. That's a given, and that's a requirement that they have. And you have to prove, you have to do the audit, and you have to do all that. But at the same time, for you to open a bank account in Hong Kong, banks are starting to be more like limited or restrictive in some regards, where they are asking, why do you want a bank account here? Like, you have, okay, I have a company there, but if you don't have any connections, they may make it a bit more difficult for you to open a bank account. So this is something that I would just consider when I'm making a decision. As you know, I always say that it's one thing to decide between like jurisdictions and where to form the company, but I think that the biggest part of that is, of course, tax. We always, nobody really forgets tax, but I think that people sometimes forget the banking infrastructure that they may need. And I think that between Hong Kong and BVI, you will find it a bit more difficult to open a bank account for BVI. And we're not even going into detail. Is it going to be like a transactional or wealth management? Like, you need at least one transactional bank account for an established company. And BVI, you do have some choices outside of BVI. You can open, I don't know, a Panama bank account or something, but you don't have as many choices as you'd have with Hong Kong. And one other thing that we had our client ask was merchant accounts, like PayPal or Stripe or something. Those are also kind of maybe a deal breaker, because, for example, as far as I know, BVI is not, you cannot get a PayPal account for a BVI company, but you can get it for Hong Kong. Like I know that those merchant accounts, they constantly add more countries to their list, and maybe that's going to change in the future. But as of now, if that is something that you need for your business as usual activities, you're definitely not going to get it with BVI, but you will get it with Hong Kong. So how important is this for you, and how much of a priority it is? It's up to you to decide. And maybe that's going to be kind of pointing you in the direction to make a choice between these two jurisdictions. To summarize, there are some distinct differences between BVI and Hong Kong. For example, the first thing is that Hong Kong has more reporting requirements, and because of that, maintenance fees in the long term are higher there. BVI is cheaper to maintain in the long term, but it is more structured better for holding companies or investment companies, or companies who hold intellectual property, and it is more suitable for businesses or business owners who want to have less complexity in their business structure and less bureaucracy and paperwork. On the other hand, Hong Kong maybe gives you a better opportunity and access to better banking options, and also merchant accounts, while BVI is a bit restricted with that because of just not enough opportunities, I guess, on the banking side. And also the biggest deal breaker in most cases can be the confidentiality and privacy. BVI offers a higher level of privacy. You don't have to share shareholder names and director names with BVI, I mean publicly, but Hong Kong, you have to disclose this information publicly. It's public knowledge. So if it's a deal breaker, I think that it's a good indicator for you to decide where do you want to go and where do you want to move your business to. I hope this video provided you some clarity to make a decision between Hong Kong and BVI for your business. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, and we will be happy to assist you further. Please like, share, and subscribe. My name is Rusudan, and I will see you in the next video.